Hi, this is our vlog of where we cover a lot of New York State. We was a bit excited to leave New York City. It was a bit busy for what we're used to, although we absolutely loved it. We was definitely ready for a bit more calm. We was amazed actually at how quickly we managed to find that calm. It must have only been around 20 minutes after getting out of New York City before we came across Englewood Cliffs, which was absolutely beautiful to have a little walk around. We didn't realise how close New York City was to New Jersey as well, so we definitely dipped over the border, I think, for some of this trip. Here's the start of Palisades Interstate Park. We only stopped here for a short time to have a look out the car at the beautiful view before getting back in. Stop in Palisades Park had a little kind of visitor centre where I think you could get some food if you wanted to, as well as there was descriptions of where you could go for a walk either way up the Hudson River, which I imagine would have beautiful views all the way along. It's meant to be a great spot to see peregrine falcons as well, so take your binoculars if you do go. We then headed through the Catskill Mountains, which definitely didn't disappoint with the views. We was excited to see so many different animals while we was driving through the Catskills. We saw the northern cardinal redbird, what I think is called a rufous hummingbird, lots of deer, as well as woodchuck, and debatable whether we saw a beaver. I think we saw a beaver, but my husband's not quite so sure. We'd hoped to get some food whilst we was driving through the Catskills, and had seen somewhere called Peekaboo's restaurant advertised in our little book, but unfortunately when we got there it was actually shut, but I had a sneaky look in of where we could have been. Coming from the UK and only ever hearing about New York City within New York State, we didn't realise just how much beautiful countryside was here and how vast it is. stopped the night in Owego before carrying on our road trip through New York State. Unfortunately, by the time we got to our hotel, everywhere seemed to be shut or was busy with really long waits, so we ended up stopping for just a drive-through dinner that night. Driving around the Finger Lakes area, there was so many places you could stop and have a hike if you wanted to, including Buttermilk Falls. Our son has something called 9p deletion syndrome, which is the reason why we actually came across to America to plan this road trip. So we spent a few days in East Aurora, where there was a reunion for families that have 9p within their family. So having spent a few days in East Aurora, we've been recommended at a few different places to eat, and a recommendation I definitely want to pass on is the wings from Buffalo Bill's. But just be wary, when they say they're hot, they really are hot. So if you're not that used to hot food, perhaps go for one of the milder flavours. This deer was hiding out, well I say hiding out, on perfect view in a car park in East Aurora behind an outdoor shop. Up slowly, but it was so tame it didn't seem to even be bothered we were there. Next we drove through Buffalo, which looks like it would have been a beautiful city to explore if we did have more time. But because we were trying to literally go from the north to the south in 3 weeks, we didn't have time to stop everywhere we would have liked. But it did look like it would have been a good place to stop if we did have more time. next we were heading towards Niagara Falls. Along the route along the river, it almost looked like loads of coastal towns, loads of places where people were moored in boats and gorgeous houses. Towards the falls, there was a little car park that we passed first where you could get out and have a little look at the river, which we did and was beautiful, before heading off towards the next car park. This part of the falls was so peaceful. There wasn't really anybody in the area where we was having a little walk, apart from lots of Canadian geese. We then parked up at the second car park, which was much busier, and planned to look at both the New York side of the Niagara Falls and also the Canadian side. So we did have our passports with us, and we walked along the bridge, which gave some tremendous views. The New York side of Niagara Falls was very different to the Canadian side, which was much busier. It had a bit of a Las Vegas sort of feel, I felt. Whereas the New York side was much more country park at nature. Were just as beautiful as we expected, if anything more breathtaking, but something we didn't expect, which is why I've included it in the video, is just how many people were there. So it's quite difficult to get to the edge to look at the falls a bit closer, so we kept it back. Walk towards the biggest horseshoe, of which there was a bit of a shopping centre sort of thing. There was like a mini shopping centre with lots of gift shops within there, as well as restaurants. We thought the restaurants were quite expensive, so if you do want to eat there, be prepared for that. We didn't, although I did pick up some maple syrup from the maple syrup shop, which I've had now we've been back home, which was a lovely souvenir. From what I've Red, I think they light up the falls every night, which was certainly beautiful to see. I think it's probably more beautiful at night time than during the day, seeing all the lights reflecting off the water. Was getting tired, so we did start to head back towards the bridge to walk across before the fireworks. But it was beautiful to see them from a distance, although I imagine some photos you could have got if you was closer to the horseshoes would have been astounding. The falls get lit up with different colours for awareness for different charities. The night we went was actually for 9p awareness. So the blue and green represent 9p deletion syndrome, which is a chromosome abnormality that actually our little boy has. So it was really emotional to see. If you've never heard of 9p deletion, also known as 9p minus, then have a Google if you're interested at www.9pminus.org. You can give some information about that. The next day we headed towards Watkins Glen State Park and had a bit of a hike through all the many different falls. It was so beautiful and I'm glad that we did that. We had our little one in a carrier, which I'd definitely recommend if you do have any small ones, as not all of the path was pushchair friendly. In fact, most of the path wasn't pushchair friendly. Although there was a viewing area at the beginning which you could get to, which is wheelchair or pushchair accessible. Drove through Pennsylvania to Washington DC, which is where our next vlog will start. If you enjoyed this, if you could give it a like and post a comment to let us know what your thoughts was, it'd be appreciated, and subscribe if you'd like to see our future vlogs. Thank you again. Bye bye.